Hi there, Serial Trader here. So I got a request to look at a few altcoins that look like they have decent technical setups here. And I mean, there's a lot to choose from, and there's certainly many others that look good enough to give some attention to. But I tried to pick three, and I've just narrowed it down to three that really catch my eye. That also have quite small market caps, because when you start from a low base, like a really small market cap, it's amazing how quickly that market cap can expand once things get trending. And certainly, as far as price percentage changes, that can be very impressive starting from a low base. So that's kind of the idea of this exercise. So starting off with OMG USD. So I believe that's Omisigo. It's an altcoin. So I zoom out here. Obviously, it was much higher in the previous, we'll call it the altcoin bull market, because the timing of these, well, they do coincide somewhat with Bitcoin itself. Obviously, the altcoin markets can certainly have their own patterns and their own trends separate from Bitcoin, and I think that's kind of the case here. So yeah, obviously huge correction off the high for OMG. But now what I'm really focusing on is the price action off of the absolute bottom here, and it looks like we got something fairly impulsive to the upside. Now, when things change so much on a percentage basis like this, sometimes log scale can bring things into proportion. So if you see what I'm looking at here, in log scale looks a lot more proportional than when I just go to arithmetic scale. So I'll just leave it in log momentarily here. So I think what we got here is an impulse wave off the bottom. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Maybe that's the initial wave 1 of this new bullish trend. Looks like we got a nice ABC down for wave 2. Now I didn't fully label this, obviously, but just kind of do a quick job of it. 1, 2, and then obviously expecting a third wave to the upside. Wave 4 and 5 would just be not even in focus right now, as the immediate move we're looking for is that third wave up. So this looks pretty solid to me as far as a nice Elliott pattern, 5 up, 3 down. And obviously there's so much upside to be gained if we do go back to the prior all-time highs, right? Never mind exceeding them, which would be the implication of a corrective pattern, but just going back to those prior all-time highs. I mean, on this, at least on the Binance data here, you're looking at, well, you're close to $30 US per token. Okay. And here we are at 3 and change still. So you're looking at like roughly a 10x just to get back to the prior high. Then if you exceed that prior high and exceed it in a significant way, which, that's kind of the implication of a corrective pattern and starting a new trend, is that you'll eventually more than exceed and perhaps greatly exceed that prior high. So this is a potential, I'll call it a conservative 10 bagger if things work out. Could be much more, obviously. So that's OMG. And then basically as far as your entry, anywhere near current levels, if you're looking to make a 10 bagger on a small coin, it doesn't matter whether you buy it 380 or 270, etc. You just select a certain amount of capital, not too much, obviously, because it's definitely a higher risk, volatile underlying, but it doesn't take much if you're looking for a 10 bag, or even $1,000 can turn into 10,000, and you're only risking, well, not that this is necessarily has any chance to go to zero, but you're only risking that $1,000 or whatever number you pick. So I think that's pretty attractive for an altcoin setup here, OMG. So yeah, remember I had it on log scale to make it look proportional, but without it, things become skewed. Okay, so next one on my radar here is AUX, so ZRX USD. And obviously it was much higher before, so it had a big bear market with many other crypto tokens. And I think we're starting something impulsive off the bottom there. Again, if I go to log scale, and maybe I'll go to a weekly chart, I think that'll work okay. So again, I think we have this initial impulse wave up. Similar setup to OMG there. So we have the initial wave 1 up, perhaps. Maybe we got our wave 2 in place, and again, starting up on that third wave to the upside. So I think this looks quite attractive here, and obviously lots of upside just to regain that prior high, never mind make significant new highs. Okay, so that's ZRX USD. You get the idea. It's very similar, not identical, but very similar setup to OMG. Take it off the log scale. And if I go to this one, so this one, I guess, is a little more well-known or mainstream, perhaps, than some of the other altcoins. If you can even call this an altcoin, I mean, it's one of the Bitcoin forks. This is, I believe, this is the Roger Ver version of Bitcoin Cash. I think there's even multiple Bitcoin Cashes at this point, and other forks. I don't really keep track of all that, but I do know BCH USD. I believe that's kind of the original Bitcoin Cash that I think is still widely supported by a lot of enthusiasts. But more importantly, from the top here, looks like we have a nice corrective move down, and that was into our December 2018 lows. Now, what I like about this, it has a very similar setup to Bitcoin, of course, and other crypto names. Only we haven't really gotten going yet to the upside, but it looks like we're starting to. So I think if you kind of miss the boat on some of these larger coins, not that I think they're done going up long term, or even necessarily intermediate term here, but if you miss that real big move, I think there's still moves like that to be had. And I think BCH, so Bitcoin Cash here, is setting up potentially for something like that. So again, if I put in log scale, it looks more reasonable. And I think we got initial 1 up. We got our ABC down for 2, and I think we're starting our third wave to the upside. And it looks like we're breaking some prior resistance levels there around that 500 level. Obviously, we're interacting with that level here currently, but there aren't too many triple tops out there. So once you've kind of broken that double layer of resistance, that double top, yeah, you can have a little consolidation in your short term, but I think we're kind of clearing our way for further upside. So this looks like a very nice setup to me on BCH. Actionable basically right now. You could get in anywhere near current levels, and obviously we're looking for much higher prices in a third wave. So again, it doesn't necessarily take nearly as much capital when you're buying something with a much smaller market cap. And if you're looking for, a 10 bagger or more, again, just size your position accordingly so that it doesn't drive you crazy. You're not rolling out of bed at 2 in the morning to check to make sure. That's usually a sign that your position's a little too big. Believe me, I've been there. But yeah, so those are the 3, I guess, lesser known or smaller cap names that kind of grab my attention right now. It was hard to choose. There's quite a few others I could have covered that also look good, but I'll leave it at that for now. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, Serial Trader signing off.